Good afternoon. Welcome to another knee-jerk review. It's a knee-jerk reaction video. I just watched the movie. I'm just sitting down to do the review before I have time to think about it too much. Um, Today's movie, I just want to say again, spoilers, but I don't know if I can give spoilers in this movie because it's such a well-known story. We all know what happens. But I'll try not to do too much damage. But if you don't like spoilers, you might not want to watch this. But I gotta tell you, I just watched Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson and a whole bunch of other famous people. And the review itself is going to be short because this is just a gorgeous movie. Um, Everything about this movie is great. But I wanted to get into like the background of this because, you know, I was thinking about this. Excuse me, but I was born in the early 60s, grew up in the 70s, started having kids in the 80s, and by the time the 90s came along, they were old enough to go to the theater and stuff. And this is when Disney had their Renaissance period. And this is when they started making like these newer cartoons. And one of the first ones they made was Little Mermaid. I don't know why I couldn't remember it. But you got to picture this. I'm taking my kids to the theater and I'm sitting there eating my Reese's Pieces, and the screen is white and they're showing the credits, the opening credits, and I'm thinking, okay, this is just going to be another Disney cartoon. But then the ship comes out of the fog, and it was one of those moments in the theater where I almost stood up and said, "What the fuck was that?" I mean, it was gorgeous, and a lot of people don't appreciate that opening scene where that ship comes through the fog, and let alone to see that on the big screen for the first time. And I just knew. I mean, it was like I knew, still sitting there in my chair. I said, Disney has changed the game just based on that one scene, and they basically did. They changed everything they knew about cartoons, and of course, they followed it up in rapid succession. That they did Beauty and the Beast, they did Aladdin, The Lion King, and they started like going around the world, taking these different ideas and these different stories, and they Disneyfy it. They take out all the gore and stuff, but they do a good job, and that's what they do, and they make it entertaining. They make you want to watch this. But each of these movies, Beauty and the Beast, each of these movies had like one scene that everyone remembers. And for me, it was that ship coming through the fog. But in Beauty and the Beast, they used computer animation to do the ballroom scene. And, they computer animated the ballroom, and then they drew the Beast and Belle dancing on the floor. And there's a scene where the camera pans down and it pans around them and the whole ballroom is spinning. And it was just freaking gorgeous. I mean, coming from, the 80s and, coming from those type of day, because nothing, you just didn't see these kind of things. And to see that for the first time in the theater was breathtaking. And, I'm a straight man who just loved that movie. And, it was just gorgeous. And then Aladdin had the scene, it was also computer animated, where he's escaping the underworld on the carpet, and there's like all these flips and turns and brick walls and lava popping up and down, and the way the sand moves and the gold melted. Everything just was gorgeous, and it just kind of changed the way Disney did movies. And they took these like really common stories that we've all heard from our childhood, that people have been hearing from their childhood for hundreds of years, and just made them, perfected them for today's world, I guess I could say, because the stories are just older than time. But seeing all these and growing up with all these, it was just like, wow, that's beautiful. And now Disney's doing another thing where they're doing live action movies based on their classic cartoons. And I don't know if you've seen, what was it called? I think they called it Enchanted or something, where it was a retelling of the story of Snow White. No, Sleeping Beauty. And I don't know, it was just gorgeous. And so And then, they announced that, hey, they're remaking like a scene by scene remake of Beauty and the Beast with live action. And everyone was like, whoa, they can't do that. And then, they cast Emma Watson, who everybody's in love with, and they created all this buzz. And then they showed a few scenes in the movie, and they're like, holy crap, they did it. They showed Emma Watson in the ball gown. They showed a glimpse of the Beast. They showed, Luminaire and Cogsworth, and they just looked gorgeous. And everyone was like, "Oh, gotta see this movie!" And of course, I finally saw it. And yes, it's everything you'd think. They did retell a few parts of it. They clarified a few parts. It was just, they improved it. I mean, I can't really, this as far as the story goes, I think they improved it, and they took out some of the ambiguity of the cartoon, and they added more depth to the Belle character. They added more depth to Maurice. They gave him a backstory. It was kind of factual too. I mean, when they showed the plague mask, that's really what they wore back then, and they're really creepy masks, and you see them in horror movies. But anyway, yeah, they retold it. A lot of it was scene for scene, but it was in a different way. It's hard to explain, but it was different but the same. And just everything was gorgeous. The animated, they even made Luminaire, and I don't know what the name of his girlfriend was, but they brought that to life. And just they added more depth to all the characters. They added some newer characters, and I don't know if these are based on like the Broadway plays or whatnot. I'm told some of the new songs are from the Broadway shows, but they added the harpsichord, which wasn't a character in the cartoon, and the wardrobe had a bigger part, and the hat rack had a bigger part. That's funny. I'm talking about these inanimate objects having bigger roles. And then the castle. Oh my God. If I could live anywhere, I would live in that castle. It wasn't just, everything was just opulence, and oh, it was just freaking gorgeous. The castle is worth it. If you're into any kind of fantasy stuff, go see this movie just for the castle. It was just gorgeous, and the stairways and the bridges and the towers and the spiral staircases, and then you get to the big rooms that were made famous in the cartoon, because there's a famous scene where he gives her a library, and in this movie it's a real library. And then of course the ballroom scene again. They recreated the ballroom scene. And you got this ballroom with this marble floor and the big chandeliers and stuff. It's just gorgeous. Even like the bedroom, you're in this big room, and there's all this stuff in this big room, and the huge balconies and the glass doors and the big fireplaces, and then you realize that's his bedroom. And it's just gorgeous, and then she's got like a similar bedroom. And then, oh God, the staircases. I can go on and on, but gorgeous. And of course, I'm going to recommend this movie wholeheartedly. There's not really any faults in the movie. I know some people are like, oh, this gives girls a bad message, because, if you marry a beast, he's going to be a beast. He's not going to change into a beautiful prince. But that's not the point of the movie. I mean, the point of the movie is that you can be horrible on the outside and good on the inside, and vice versa. And one of the things, and when I watch these movies, I do the review right away. Sometimes you got to watch a movie over and over again to get some of the symbolism. But there's a scene where Belle holds up the mirror, and she goes, "Show me the beast," and she turns it around and goes, "Here's the beast." And of course, she's holding the mirror up, in Gaston's face, and that's essentially the whole point of the movie in that one scene, because it shows, Gaston is the beast. He's this gorgeous guy that everyone's in love with, and kind of the leader of the town, and she holds up the mirror and says, "This is the beast." And, of course, it's reflecting Gaston. And, that's like the whole point of the movie is don't judge people by what they are on the outside. And, of course, the original fairy tale ended quite badly. But, yeah, it's just, that was one of the symbolisms that just grabbed me and shook me. But the whole story, I mean, they fleshed out Maurice. They talked about Belle's mother, and they delved into more of the mythology of how the beast became the beast and how the flower is important. Um, yeah, it's just gorgeous movie, gorgeous to watch, beautiful characters. Um, and of course, a big stink was made about the LeFou character, but I think he was very well done, and God, I applaud him. Um, Everything about this movie is beautiful. Go see it if you haven't seen it. I think I don't know, it's probably too late to see it in the theater. I wish I would have seen it in the theater. But yeah, highly recommend this movie. 10 stars out of 10. I don't really have a rating system, so every movie review I make up a rating system. But yeah, this is 5 claws out of 5, 6 wolves out of 6. Good movie. Go watch it. Beauty and the Beast with hope I can't even name all the stars that were in there, but and the songs were good. They redid some of the songs a little bit, but enough that you can sing along, and added a few new songs that were just beautiful. And uh, um, so yeah, I'm a 60-year-old man raving about a kids movie, but if you grew up in the 90s and saw the original cartoon and then you see this, and it's gonna blow you away. It really is. Even if you haven't ever seen a Disney movie before, I think this movie would blow you away. So good luck. I'm going to wrap it up. Good movie. Go see it. Beauty and the Beast. I saw it on Amazon. I did buy it on Amazon, so it wasn't free. Uh, but it is out there. It's a good flick. Highly recommend it.